Hi everyone, this is Libini here and welcome to Hacks for Holistic Living. So before I move on to introducing our guest for the day, for the sake of our viewers, I wanted to explain why we started this series called Hacks for Holistic Living. What is holistic living? It's about being healthy, wealthy, having beautiful relationships in life, and being spiritually aligned. These days there are hacks for this, hacks for that, and hacks for everything. But what we feel is missing is actually, insights or a guide on how is it that you can actually lead a holistic life. So today, since we have some leading educators from the country joining us on the show, we thought we'll focus on the youth and get some insights and tips from them for the youth on how to live a life of holistic abundance. So before we move on with the discussion for the day, I wanted to introduce our guests on the show. Our first guest is Mr. Vel Murugan. He is the CEO of the Velammal Educational Trust in Tamil Nadu. So the Velammal Educational Trust was started in 1986 with just about 183 students and 13 staff. And you'll be surprised to know that today they have almost 1,00,000 students and around 10,000 staff members. So for today's discussion, especially, the group is very pertinent because they nurture a unique concept in teaching. They believe in exploring the innate talent in students and not just making them academically strong, but also physically and mentally fit to lead a successful life. Welcome, Mr. Vel Murugan.
Hi, ma'am. Hi.
And our second guest for the day is Chitra Prasad. Chitra is a correspondent of NSN Group of Schools in Chennai. Interestingly, when Chitra was a little girl, someone actually asked her, "Do you want to be an educator like your mother?" And you'll be surprised to know that she said, "I'll be anything but a teacher." And today, Chitra heads the NSN Group of Schools, which has almost 3 schools and 5,500 plus children. Chitra is also an ardent believer in breakthroughs. That's one of the reasons we thought it's very pertinent for today's discussion, which focuses on holistic living. So welcome, Chitra.
Thank you, Libini. My pleasure.
And our third guest for the day is Megha Bajaj. Megha is the award-winning author of several books, including Thank You Cancer and I Inspire. In fact, her recent book, The Breakthrough, which was launched a month ago, is already a national bestseller. She has written more than 1,000 articles for well-known magazines and newspapers. Megha also runs online writing workshops for aspiring authors. She's been approached by several directors and producers to write film scripts too, but I think she's waiting for the right one to have her words on the big screen. Welcome, Megha, to the show.
Thank you so much, Libini. Pleasure.
My first question will be to Mr. Vel Murugan. Since we're talking about youth today, we're looking at hacks for holistic living for the youth today. I just wanted to ask you, what is that one thing according to you that you think the youth most need today?
I was just pondering over all the things given to me, and it was very interesting. The first question is especially today's, especially when they come to pre-teens or teenage, they want to create an identity. That's what the psychologists say. There is a craving for everyone to get an identity for themselves in the world. See, there are a billion population. In that, you want to get noticed. It's not easy. It's more than a rat race. It is not even a rat race. If suppose Megha Bajaj has created an identity for herself, that means how much of work should have gone into her mind so that to be position at a particular age. So everyone, it's a human instinct. Everyone craves for something. So I would always say, if at all, what the youth need to do is should understand their purpose of life. Sometimes when you go to certain classes in a lower class or even in a decision-making class like 10 and 12, some children just shrug their shoulders and say, I've not yet decided. I'm a bit confused. Very and sometimes they even come to the higher undergraduation program. You ask them, have you decided what you need to do in your life? They say, sorry, I have not yet decided. I'm confused. This is one thing which is killing. See, the purpose. See, something by a human instinct, naturally you go towards it, either to an art or to music. There are certain human elements into you. Please watch yourself. See, you look into your inner conscience. What is that craving in you? And create a purpose. If at all, I always say, sometimes some people commit suicides. Some people in their life where God has never called them, but they make their call on their own. I always say they die because they have not understood their purpose well. Today we debate on many heroes and heroines, they commit suicide or do something. That means God has written a script for you, and you must know your script. And if you understand the purpose in your life, I think so, you live like a legend in your own kingdom. So any youth, I will say, I will stand by only one word. Try to find the meaning or a purpose in your life. If you got the purpose in life, nothing will shake you. It's like a North Pole. It's nothing.
Yeah.
North Pole. You may starve. You may not have money. No one would help you. You'll have barriers. There would be a lot of politics. People will be biased. There would be a lot of other injustice done to you. But if your purpose is clear, one day you will shine like the shining star. And everyone would say, when you are on the podium, you have made it. And that breakthrough doesn't reach for everyone. But there is a breaking point, like how Calwell said, in the tipping point, you 10,000 hours to master. So you keep on doing. Then at one point, there is a breakthrough. So I would always say, youth, every human being born has a purpose. If you realize your purpose, you have made your life, and you are the king or the queen for your own kingdom. And that's the most precious thing for anyone in life. So I will say, identify your purpose, live your purpose, you live a meaningful life, and you are a legend, and you leave a legacy. The purpose, that's the only word I will try to say.
That's so right. I think I'm sure that will help them a lot. So coming back to you, Chitra, like you've been an educator for so many years. What do you think has been the biggest breakthrough for you as an educator?
Libini, nowadays the focus is so much on success, so much is on success. And I think the process is very important, how you achieve that success. And the focus is so much on marks. When I see in schools, be it the teacher or the parent, is focusing a lot only on marks, thinking that will lead to success in life. Breakthrough basically is breaking from, with a pattern, your past pattern. You have a pattern, and breaking away from that is a breakthrough. So for me, I think when it comes to, say, getting marks and all that, you can just drill and achieve it. It's not a big challenge and it's not a big deal. But I think there are certain habits. I'm not talking about rocket science, but basic things where our habits hold us, back. So much so that in my growing up years, I get into all the wrong habits. And finally, there comes a breaking point in life. I don't achieve a breakthrough in life. Taking my school as an example, I thought everywhere Indians are sometimes known for the wrong reasons. And when we go late, they say this is Indian punctuality, right? So we wanted to set a pattern, and we wanted to break away from that, and understanding fully well that punctuality goes a long way in building a powerful mind, because it has a lot of subconscious bearing. So to change the mindset of a person itself is a breakthrough. So for us, it is a small community of students, a small community of parents whose mindset is, so what if he is late?
True.
But they don't understand it is not about that punctuality to school alone. It is a commitment that I make. If I do it, I will, if I say it, I will do it. Right?
True.
And the more and more I keep making commitments and honoring my commitments, and that is when I build a powerful subconscious mind. And now this powerful subconscious mind is required, because in my life, it's always going to be making commitments and honoring my commitments, making my commitments and honoring my commitments. And any breakthrough in life can be achieved if you are into the right mindset. And for us, it was a Herculean task, Libini, to make the small community understand how important punctuality is. And there I had to stand up against the parents in the interest of their own children, because the society was so used to this, not going anywhere on time, not keeping their commitments. For them, it was not important. But it took us a couple of years to achieve that. Today, even my pre-KG child understands what is punctuality. So slowly, I'm building the subconscious, belief of the child that I can do it. Yes, and that mindset, to create that mindset. Today, if you ask parents, what is the best practice that you like in NSN, they will definitely say that discipline, that punctuality that you insist. But was it easy for me to change the mindset of the society? It wasn't. So that is a great breakthrough for us. Today they understand. So I think everything else comes later. Big breakthroughs in life actually begins with this small step, which is a very important milestone in a child's life.
That's
So
really
that
nice.
I think is a breakthrough for NSN.
Yeah. And it's so important to set these patterns that stay on with them for life, right? It's not just about a day or two, but then things that
Yes.
they can hold on to for their entire lifetime.
Yeah, growing up years matters a lot. Those years are the most crucial years in your life. And that is what makes you the man you become for the rest of your life.
True, very true, very true. Well said, Chitra.
Yeah.
And Megha, coming back to you, like your book, the latest book, The Breakthrough, in fact, talks about holistic living actually. So in this context, how does the book address the youth?
Libini, I feel that, I write a lot from my personal examples. So I grew up in one of the best schools in Bombay. It's been rated as the #1 school from many, many years now. And even after coming from that school, somewhere I felt that while I was taught science, English, everything, very basic life skills, like simple things like how do you handle your emotions? How do you handle, how do you deal with pressure, peer pressure? How do you deal with someone saying, no, you can't? I didn't know how to get this right, and somehow I didn't learn it for a very long time till I kind of found my teacher for life. Now, the breakthrough is written, I think one of the main reasons I felt that the youth would benefit out of it is because it has these 11 stories of people who literally began their life from nothing. So, we actually have a person called Nitin Nyati who grew up in a chawl in Pune. And today, 5 decades later, he is the most popular builder in Pune. So from a chawl to living in the most beautiful house. How has that journey happened and what are those things that he did right? This is what I want to teach the youth. I have another person called Mr. Chitra Prasad who I've written about. He happened to be an outlaw. Okay, and he was very notorious. So when you read that part, like you laugh and laugh as to how naughty he was. But today and he was ready to do anything to achieve what he wants. It's like my way or the highway. It's like that. And today he represents one of the top 20 chartered accountancy firms in India.
Wow, really? Okay.
And one firm where it's like, he's like, even if 1 rupee tea I have, it's accounted for.
Okay.
So I want to tell, and so on and so forth for all the 11, people. So I want to tell people that no matter who you are, and, as a youngster, you have hope. There's a huge, in fact, the way Mr. Vel Murugan said that when you have a purpose, when you have something to look forward to, all that rain, storm, sunshine, everything will come. But somehow you'll find a way to go ahead. And each of these 11, like how have they used simple incidents? See, it's like, when he was thrown on the platform, it was a relatively simple incident, so to speak. We didn't know that it's going to create a Mahatma and it's going to create a revolution. So how is it that one can use simple incidents and create breakthroughs in their life? How that's what the book talks of. So I feel that the more the youth understands that there is much more to life than what they can see right now. When they have a vision, a purpose, they're going to love it. And through these fun stories, it's going to make them feel, oh, this is my story. I see myself in her. I see myself in him. So through them, they'll be able to learn so much. That's what I think would teach the youth.
Okay. And Mr. Vel Murugan, just wanted to check, as an educator, for instance, in your students, what are those values? Like, say, if I were to say 3 most important values that you inculcate in your students, because like I said, you have almost a lakh students studying under your umbrella of educational institutions. So what would be those three most important values that you inculcate in students?
As Chitra ma'am said, our schools are known for punctuality. I understand, I can relate what ma'am says. It's not that parents take it for granted, and especially in today's situation, most of them don't go to sleep on time. The problem is there because
True.
they hang out, they stay on. Now, during this online class, that's one of the most important thing we observe. The morning come to the class by 9:15. They just pick them from the bed and they are there. So what that right from the beginning, the punctuality, what Chitra ma'am said, he himself is an example, and then he got to that. The whole school got into that habit. He always used to say, "I'm not very intelligent, but I'm very regular and punctual." Today, like what Megha was saying, he started from nothing. In fact, Mother Velammal was a school nursemaid in a government school. She was and no background except that willpower and purpose to grow. So, in fact, my dad had a chance to, we had a chance to host the Singapore president, Mr. Nathan sir. And when he towards Rameshwaram, which is his native village, he chose our house to be his in between. So, on the way, he spent little time in our house and he went. And my dad was not able to receive him and meet for certain purpose. When we had a chance to meet him, the question he asked is, coming from a small village like that, because he has seen our village, how is that able to get a big picture? How is that you get a big picture? So even after getting a big picture, my dad has literally achieved in his life. The only thing my dad always says is, I am not that intelligent. In school education, I did not do great thing. He is open to say that in maths, I failed multiple times, not once, multiple times. Then later, I went on to become a civil engineer. It's all because of only two habits. One, I'm regular. Wherever he'll be regular. We always say, for any reception, before the boy and the girl has the makeup, my dad will be there. So they are at 7:30 in the beauty parlor. My dad, and he also used to make fun. See, the girl is not even ready, and even the cooks are not ready to serve the food, but you are there. But and he has lived his whole life on that. He will only say any ordinary person can succeed only if they are able to do two values. They are regular in their work, whatever they do. These are the two values he has sought to that it's across the organization. We always say we go for a function, especially when we run the functions. We say the annual day is supposed to start at 6. It's Velammal's time. We are starting a minute before. That's our at 5:15. And if you look at the opposite, sometimes parents couldn't have come also, but still we will say this is our time and we will.
That's so important. Yeah, true.
So, the two things he always makes it as a purpose, and we have drove through this model. Wherever, whenever, whatever we do, we'll be regular in doing it, and we'll also be punctual in it. But if you ask me, apart from these two things, what we need to inculcate, this is after a 32-year journey and my 33 years of life journey, I would say somewhere we should teach our children contentment. I love the way Gandhi said, if you are fighting for a need, there is an end. But if you are fighting for a greed, there is no end. Today, people get stressed out. People are unhappy. People come across many lifestyle diseases because somewhere they have got the purpose of life wrong. If you are very clear with your need, that's what I would like to say. Need, contentment, and minimalistic. See, you buy so many things, but only thing after you buy everything, you realize, but you don't use many things. But
you don't need everything,
But for buying many things, which is multiple, which you are not going to use, you get into the credit card. Then you get into lots of mess. So I will say I would still continue the old values like punctuality, regularity, respectfulness, and habit. That has to be there. But as a newness to our organization, we need to teach somewhere to the children contentment in life. Live the moment. Live every moment in your life. Enjoy every moment you have, and then be very minimalistic. Know where is your need, so that the greed does not catch up. So you do endless running. See, Corona has got a lot of life skills, values to many. See, many people are running and running and running. Now it has given a natural full stop for them to spend time with their wife and their kids. So now there's a lot of introspection going on. So I will say we should retain the punctuality, regularity, habit formation, and respectfulness. But also as a newness, as a new avatar, we need to teach our children how to be contented, how to live the moment and be happy. So these are the skills I would like to my children to carry forward, because I've traveled the journey. I've opened 20 schools. Now I am the right person to do. I've done the loan from everywhere. So I know Ambani. And if someone says you have to be an Ambani, you need not be the real Ambani. You can be Ambani in your own way. You need not be billion for you. A lakh would be you are an Ambani in your own way. So we need not compete with others. Let us know where is our need, what is our need, where is an end. Let's move forward. So that is what I would love to teach my children at this point of time, apart from retaining the old ones.
Absolutely, Mr. Vel Murugan. Like, in fact, touching on the same thing that you're talking about, Chitra, I wanted to ask you as well. Like, since he's talking about contentment and, how to handle finances, like how equipped is our youth to actually do this? How important is financial education for youth? As an educator, what do you think about this?
Yeah, Libini, financial literacy is very important to start right from maybe class 6 onwards, because children should know how money is made, how money is invested, and how money is spent.
Yeah.
They should also have a fairly good idea about how the economy works. And there has to be value for money. They should know how to value money. So saving for a rainy day is very, very important. So this millennial generation, it's a very comfortable life for them. People from our generation who started life from scratch, we have a lot of value for money. So I think this generation has to be taught. They are intelligent, they will understand. It's only that they need the right guidance. And I think this has to be importantly part of the curriculum, financial literacy, because it's very, very important for them to know how money can be made, how money can be invested, and how money can be spent. They should have a fairly good idea about how the economy of a country works. I think it should be age relevant. You can't teach too much to them about commerce and trade and things like that, but basic, start from a piggy bank saving and things like that. Yeah. So like that, start off, and I think from class to 6 to 12, if you have that, because today that reckless spending, all that only, affects somebody. Not that they don't make money, but the investment is not right. They are not able to, think the right way and invest the right way. They are not able to spend, like Mr. Vel Murugan said, need and greed are two different things. They need to identify. So are you spending money or are you investing money? Makes a lot of difference. You need to invest money and not keep spending money. And for your needs, yes, you can invest money. And basically that, I think that will help these children to be very prudent with their money. Because many times when a business house falls, we see that there has been recklessness in the way they've handled money. So how to handle money is very, very important for the students. Right from school days, if you teach, then they will take care of themselves. You don't have to worry. So I think it plays a very major role, because even in a family budgeting, you should involve your children. Now, pandemic times, they are at home. They'll know how much a family spends, monthly, on electricity, on provisions, on vegetables, and all other necessities. They know. Involve your children in family budgeting. I think it begins there, like that, at home. And of course, it has to be complemented by the school also in a very structured way. If financial literacy is taught to them, I think we can see a better economy in the future.
True, with both parents and
and the school pitching in.
Exactly.
If I'm permitted to add, somewhere we should teach them for every rupee what they should do. A percent for their need, the present need, a percentage for the future, a percentage, a percentage what they can invest. So if I'm able to teach per rupee what they need to do, then I think they'll be conscious. It is younger children. The biggest thing is most of the youth, they've got what they want from their parents or from their ancestor. The problem is their appreciation for the wealth they've got. Many people do not understand the way it has come. So somewhere I said, for every penny they get, teach them how they need to spend. I think so they are already smart. We can make them smarter if you do that.
I agree. And I think that is where educators like you also come into the picture. It's a joint. If it's done in a more structured approach, I think that sort of helps. And what about you, Megha? Like, what do you think is the need of the hour for the youth?
I think, Libini, the need of the hour for the youth is to understand that everything is not Maggi noodles. Somewhere I feel that youngsters are becoming very restless, very fast. Like, even if they are browsing, if they're opening their mail, and if it's browsing for a few minutes, I see people like tapping their hands and tapping their feet, and so they somewhere feel that I get the feeling that they feel that everything should come with a snap, and they don't realize that nothing comes with a snap. So in fact, in my journey or whatever, like, I have a lot of friends even in the film industry, and Alia Bhatt, for example, is a very big icon for the youth. And if people want to have her life because it looks like, it's such a life of amazingness and everything. The amount of effort that goes into one single shot that she has to do right. Sometimes she may have to do a retake about 1,000 times before she gets that one shot right.
Yeah.
What we see is that 1 second. So we always feel that, it's like, I want that life. I just want everyone to know, in fact, that's another focus in the breakthrough, that none of these 11 people have shied away from working hard. In fact, hard work is essential. So if you think that you can just keep dreaming, and I feel a little sorry even when I read a few books, where they say, oh, just imagine and it will come true. Imagine is one part. Unless you work hard, it's going to come true, but not for you. It will come true for the person who's working hard. So like Dr. APJ Kalam used to say, right? It's like dreams are something you see when you're waking up, and something you work towards. So that's one thing I would love for the youth to inhabit, that no matter what, you'll get everything you want to in life, but you have to work hard for it. Don't think that the way Maggi noodles can be made in 2 minutes, your life can be made in 2 minutes. And just because you see someone who has arrived, you don't know what has gone behind. Like Mr. Vel Murugan said, and Chitra, I mean, it's a legacy of so many years that makes these institutes what it is. It's not one fine day that you woke up and you got it. So I think that's something I would like to emphasize.
True, and that's so true with this generation where everything is instant, right? Everything at the click of a mouse. So they probably don't realize all the hard work that has gone into making all of that possible. Coming back to you all, because you've all dealt with so many youths, you've all come across so many youths, and you both, especially as educators, you met so many of them. So just wanted to check, coming to Mr. Vel Murugan first, any interaction with a youth that has actually inspired you?
I was just pondering over it. See, our job, our full job is with the younger ones. They just get into our campus, so nibble. They are in LKG, UKG, soft hands, and then we see them mature as an engineer out, or we keep track. At least I have been a teacher for a long time. I was teaching from 89 to almost 2003 or 4. Now I'm a teacher. So as a teacher, we have seen all these younger ones, even at a very young stage, like class 6, class 4, class 8, as an engineer. So it is not one youth, it is multiple facets of people we have come across. We have seen someone in the sports field. We have seen someone in studies. We have seen different kinds of children. In fact, I run a few startups where my own students are my startup CEOs. One, Rajagopal, I've taught him social science in his class 6, 7, 8. That fellow as a teacher is a big challenge. If you teach them 9, you teach them 10 things, you'll be curious about the 11th thing. So you
Okay.
attention. Other children will be very happy with the 10 things I give, or even few things I give. But this fellow is so curious, he wants to know the 11th thing. So I was waiting for him to mature. He went to the corporate world. He learned all the nuances. Now I have run a startup. That's the reason during the COVID, the minute COVID hit, our company was ready. We were able to scale the operation just like that because this Rajagopal, whom I'm seeing as a 35-year-old youth or not even a corporate guy, I've seen him when he was 10 years, 11 years old. I know this boy is going to make it big, and always as a good teacher, I wanted to have him part of the learning process. So he's my designer, and I also have Barvin. She's the girl whom I taught. I was just 18 years old then. She was in my class. So I kept track of her. She's a computer science engineer. She's with CTS. She does little work for our class children. So like that, I could say Lavanya. In fact, the girl got state rank and whatnot. But I've seen her from 8th standard. I was her headmaster. In fact, when one of my uncle's daughter was to be named, they asked me to name. I named the girl by Lavanya. Name Lavanya.
Okay.
If you see, now Lavanya herself is very successful. And the girl which I have kept for my uncle's daughter, she's also quite successful.
Okay.
So, kind of traces, like other person, one Mr. Karthikeyan, is a chief marketing officer of Fresh Desk. I saw this boy in our college hostel, engineering college hostel. He was streamlining lots of things as a student leader. Today he is holding a bigger portfolio. So many of the students, you see them early traces. And only thing, don't judge them by the scores they do in mathematics or English or anything. Look at the other nuances these child have. Some children, some are well dressed, some are very humble, some are polite. Then you give unconditional strokes to those children. So now they turn up to very big legends in the later part of the life. I have one boy who was heading the KFC in Chennai. He was my 12th standard student. And every morning as a principal, I have to give one shot to him. And if I give one shot, he will say, throughout the day, I may do some mischief. This is in advance, you give it to me. He will come to me with 2 shots. He won't need any mistake for the day, but he always says, I will end up with something, but end of the day, this account will be all right. The debit will match. So that runs the KFC in Chennai, and he was in Doha doing a wonderful job. So we are lucky as a principal. That's what I said. As a teacher, we need to pay to our children. It is not that children should pay to us. We are blessed because they make us happy. They take us through all the joy, all the tribulation, but end of the day, they mature as a great, great persons, and they are inspirations forever. That's what I would say. Some children inspired through music, some children inspired through sport, some children inspired through their studies. There's a big list going on. So whenever you look at any youngster, any youth, they're bundled with energy and joy. Only thing we should know what perspective to look and expect from them. If you always look at the negative part of it, then you feel bad about it. Even if children are naughty, enjoy the naughtiness. That's how the boys are to be. That's how the girls are to be. When you're able to counsel them, we have helped a lot of children. Sometimes they get into love affair. I have a girl, I should not name the girl. In class 10th, she was about to, in a deep love with a boy, just 2 months before the exam. We helped the girl like anything, and the boy also. The mother literally left the child with us. In fact, the school took care of her. Today, she is a very well-grown adult, but she's happy about it. So you always look at the good things of a kid, and every youth has a story to say. That's what I would say. I can name a few, but I have to name a big list, because youth is an inspiration. Because that's the age they have all that quality. Only thing you and I, how do you look at them? Even with my boys, both are in 21 plus. I look at the best side of them, and always the best side is inspiring to us. And that's what I would like to say. I don't want to name one kid. Every youth is an inspiration. So let's look at them like that. Heroes and heroines in life, they're always. That's what I would say.
Yeah, at this stage, I think what's more important is to channel it in the right direction. Yeah, and you've been doing it.
How adult looks at youth and how additional stroke you give. Always look at what strength they have, and if their self-esteem is boosted, if it is boosted well, even their negative things will go. Don't
Yeah.
keep treating them with what they don't have. Look at what they have. What they have is more than what they don't have. So let's start looking at them. And for me, every youth is a story and every youth is inspiring. That's how I will take. I will give up on them because they are the only big asset we have. So both the boys, they are my asset. I always said nothing more I should leave. These boys are enough. That's how every youth is in our country. I believe in that.
Okay. What about you, Chitra? Like any touching moment between you and any of your students?
Many touching moments, but one that comes to my mind immediately is one of my students who's settled in the US for the last 14-15 years. She used to work for Microsoft, and for 14 years she was with Microsoft, and then she shifted to Facebook. And in between, when she was not working, she had come down to India, and she happened to address our students. Normally when children come, we ask them whether they can address our students, and about her own growth and things like that, how focused she was, and how she achieved all this. And as she was sharing with our students, she also mentioned that she is from a very ordinary family, should say even a lower middle class family, and the income is very less, and how she had to work part-time in the institute where she studied. For +2, these children go for coaching. So when she went to Anna University to do her engineering, weekends she used to go to this institute, because then she was paid some 1,500 rupees, which would help the family in a big way, because there were 5 mouths to feed and the income was a paltry sum, and this 1,500 would contribute to the family's income. So she said, that is how I used to ride a Luna, a two-wheeler, powered two-wheeler called a Luna. And I used to go to this institute. I used to teach to make both ends meet in my family. And education is the biggest wealth that was given by my parents. And of course, Anna University, the fees is not very high, it's subsidized. And then how she joined Microsoft. And today she has a huge 6-bedroom house in the US. She drives a Tesla, she has a BMW, she has a Merc and all that. Today, money is not at all a challenge. But at that time, she never had friends. Everybody thought that she was a snob, but she couldn't hang out with friends because she didn't have money. And people thought she was a snob. And only when she got closer to somebody, she could share her family background, with them. And she said that I don't have the kind of money you people have to hang around. I can only focus on my studies. So, and she was just sitting there, and I was talking to the students, and I said, it's really surprising that I didn't know when she was studying in the school that she had financial constraints. Now NSN is, sponsoring so many children's education to the tune of almost 1 crore every year. And if only we had known that, she was going through all this, definitely we would have pitched in, and I feel really bad about that. And as I was addressing the students in the auditorium, the others were saying that she had, tears running down her cheeks, like, the very thought that her school would have stepped in, and I think she was reliving the whole thing. And really, that was a very touching moment for all of us, because today, what she is today has no semblance of her past. What she went through, none of us knew. And when I came to know, I think that was a very, very touching moment for me, because a girl with nothing behind her yet made it very big in life. And she showed that grit, that determination. Children of her age were indulging in a lot of other things, but she took the responsibility of her family. She was very focused. She didn't lose track of what she was required to do. And as a very responsible daughter, she did everything for the family. And today, her brother is an expert in coding. He's also with Microsoft. Her husband is with Microsoft. And the whole family is doing extremely well. And that was also a very proud moment for me, as much as it was a very touching moment for all of us.
No, that's really inspiring. In fact, that's the whole idea of this series, like these little things which can actually be an inspiration for the youth.
Yeah.
What about you, Megha? You're still a young author, any incidents that you remember from your youth that probably inspires, that could be an inspiration for the younger generation?
Absolutely. I think when I was in the sixth standard, Libini, so I grew up in a large joint family and everyone spoke in Hindi at home. So though I used to love writing and used to love expressing, I didn't pick up English fluently till sixth standard. So I was just made to stand up in class by my English teacher, and she asked me that some question she asked about tenses and I couldn't answer. And she was quite, she made a lot of fun and she said, "You're a vegetable. You're not going to, do anything in life. You're going to be good for nothing." A lot of things she kind of said, and I know she didn't even mean it. She was just being funny. But as a very sensitive student, for me, I was a very deep and sensitive person right from childhood. So it hit me very hard. And just watching all my classmates laugh, it really hit me hard. And I remember I completely felt shattered for a long time. And I felt like, oh God, there's nothing to life. When we go through that sad moment for youth, sometimes it's very deep. Like it really goes. So, and then as I kind of grew up, I met my teacher for life, who's Mahatria, and he kind of kept on building this into me that it doesn't matter what, even if the whole world doesn't believe in you, but if you believe in yourself, it's enough. And that kind of goes into what Mr. Vel Murugan said, that, it's like, not everyone's going to, we have wonderful educators, but not everyone around is going to only look for the good in us. That's where that sense of purpose, or, that one sentence sometimes can be so life transforming. It's so strange from being told that I would never learn English.
True, and look at you today, yeah. Being a national best-selling author.
So it's amazing, right? Like the publishers are excited that, okay, we've never had, a national bestseller, that too in the middle of pandemic and things like that. But it's happening. So I think sometimes all you really need is either someone to believe in you,
Yeah.
So I would say this both ways, that even if we don't have someone who can believe in us, at least can we be that kind of a person who will go and believe in someone. So that's one. And second is that no matter what the world says, ultimately if you are strong enough and you have a very clear North Star, nothing can stop you. And I've seen that in my life. It's a journey and I really believe in that. In fact, I would tell every youngster, be it in both your schools, anywhere, that please just, it's like no matter what you hear, that sound within you is actually the loudest. And you have to keep on nurturing it and keep on making it louder and louder by the day.
True. Like how Mr. Vel Murugan said, the whole purpose of life, that is where I think that comes in, Yeah. Exactly. So moving on, like I also wanted to talk about life skills, that's so important in this age. Like how important do you think it is to introduce this as a separate subject in school? Because you're all educators, I thought, let me ask you about that. First to you, Mr. Vel Murugan, like if you can tell me.
Yeah, there are two aspects to it. One aspect is you say the life skills stand alone. But what goes into the mind of the young children is when it is blended. So what we take is there is a stack of life skills we need to teach our children. Then we embed in every session. So lots of points can be drawn when you teach language or sometimes when you teach mathematics. Like one of the things is financial management. So it is that it has to be taught separately. There are many maths units which can touch. So we should know as a school head, we need to know how to blend it so well so that it becomes a add-on whenever you teach a particular concept or it is done. So you can take two approaches. One, do a standalone so that it is there. Like yesterday also I was discussing with my boys, we used to have something called speech craft and life skill classes. Those kind of things that you enjoy because it is not the regular English, Tamil, math, science, social. Someone gives a skill for your future. It's like giving a key to unlock the future. So it is something. So you do as a standalone. You also blend it right across. So if you're giving messages in the school periodically, you use your General Assembly. You have so many days celebration. You have your Diwali. Holi. Everywhere there is something to be done. So certain things you have to say explicitly, certain things you have to blend it. So this approach, crisscross approach of saying it standalone and blending will help them a long way. I believe after coming through such a long journey, I always interesting case studies like as Chitra ma'am and others said. Now we see Steve Jobs, but there is an element in Steve Jobs, like what Megha said. Certain words can make you or break you. Like for Megha, the word broke her, but it made her. So even Steve Jobs or anyone's life, it's a dad, our teacher, everyone has ups and downs. So you are able to give life stories to the children. Relate to your life skill, how it is useful. And that will have a very good, tremendous impact on the kid.
True.
We teach yoga to younger children. Do they need in class 5, 6? No. Already they are fit. When you become obese, when you come to the desk work, you always sit at the desk, you add on weight, and you earn your own money. Then you call a word yourself, you are a foodie. Then you try to go to a point and you start tasting. Only then yoga comes to place. But it is like this: you ingrain good things during their school days. So these are all multiple keys we give it to children at that age. But sometimes they need not unlock at that point of time. But during the journey, they will be able to do. So blend with 3 things: teach them standalone, blend with your curriculum, and always make a point to say whenever, because good learnings come when there is a context set. That's a second approach. Third is, please give them life stories where you can ask children to create perceptions and then with it. These 3 approaches will go a long way. And as a school, as a teacher, that's what we need to do. Your mathematics will come to some point of life, but your life will come till your last breath. And to understand that, and we need to take our children forward. Marks alone doesn't matter. Something is beyond marks. Sometimes they can become wealthier because of their marks, but their life skill will make them to live it better. They may have thousands of dollars in their bank account, but if their anger is not well managed, if their stress is not there, if the life skill, if they do not know to live the moment, if their life is not holistic, if they do not know how to run a happy family, if they're not able to understand their spouse well, these things can break your wealth. What is the use? My dad used to say, if you give a coconut to a dog, what is the use? The puppy may love the coconut, but what is the use? So you may have dollars with you, but until you have the life skills to enjoy, those are all something like a dog holding a coconut or something like that. So life skill is something till your last breath. You live your life king size. That's what I would like to say. So take 3 approaches. It will help you a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I too agree. The tools that you use probably to, impart these in children is more important, and there are so multiple ways to do it. Like, for instance, Megha's book itself, there are so many takeaways from the book. Like, in fact, that's what I wanted to ask Chitra next. What about using tools like this? For example, this book itself, how would you probably use a book like this to teach life lessons to the youth?
Yeah, first let me say that Mr. Vel Murugan's thoughts really resonate with mine. And the vision of NSN itself is to take education beyond and build a new world. So when we say to take education beyond itself, it means take it beyond the textbook, beyond the classroom, beyond academics. Like he said, knowledge should be complemented with this life skills for them to live a beautiful life. So when it comes to this book, The Breakthrough, I don't have to actually go into details. Megha herself has explained very well the purpose for which she has written and what the book is all about, and how much it opens up the values of the trailblazers, the challenges faced by the trailblazers, the situations that they faced in life, not very easy, tough situations that they faced in life. It's basically like, even when my life didn't go right, I had to ensure that I was right.
Yeah.
Even when things didn't go right in my life, I was right in my life. I think that is a very important message, and very optimistic in their approach. Throughout, you can read in The Breakthrough, you can get to know all the common traits of all these trailblazers was all this and much more than this. And it should not be like even a non-detailed book. It shouldn't be even a non-detailed book, but I think it should be totally integrated into the curriculum, and then probably children can come up with some role play, like you can divide children into groups, and each group can be told to read the life story of one of the trailblazers. So you take at a time about 4 trailblazers or 5 trailblazers, and each of them comes and does a role play, fully understanding the story of their growth. Maybe they can make a presentation. Maybe they each one can come and tell in their story what is the challenge faced by the hero or the personality there, and how did he overcome that. And maybe the thread, the common thread amongst all the trailblazers, what do they find is common amongst them. And I think like that, if you take it, it could be done in a year, it could be done like say 11 and 12, 2 classes, 2 years. But I think in-depth understanding of life should happen and will happen if you go deep into that. My firm belief is, that book can bring a total paradigm shift in their thought process, and they can achieve breakthrough even in their, outlook, their attitude, their approach to life. Children will definitely understand that life is all about this and that, and there is nothing that can that comes to an end. There is always a bend, in life, and nothing comes to an end, and you need to execute the right choices in all the situations. It is you who has to execute all the right choices. And I think a lot of such things, the youth, especially the millennial generation, needs that reiteration that everything can be worked out. There is a solution for everything, and don't get dismayed or don't get upset, because they get very upset soon. So I think this book will teach them so much about optimism. And like Megha said, life is not about 2-minute noodles. You need to persist. And one day, yes, NSN, the story of NSN itself is the grit and determination of one lady who, had a tryst with destiny, and how she started the school. And it was not in a year or two that she built the school. Today, it is a 52-year-old school. But it is also about women empowerment. The book is also about women empowerment, that women are no less, and they can also, do their best and come up in life. So I think there are so many things. It will open up so many avenues for children where they thought it was impossible. I think this book says possible. I am possible, not impossible. I am possible. And live with a lot of faith, live with a lot of self-belief. And I think that is what this book is going to do to the younger generation.
Definitely.
If I'm
please go on.
Permitted to see, nowadays the children, even if it is a book format, there are many youth who are doing the entire book reading. But I always believe we have to give the right dosage, and these are all life thoughts. See, when you read some philosophy, you read few pages, then you keep munching over it. It is not like any other novel. You just start from the first page, you just scroll, and it's very romantic. You go till the end, something like that. So the best way, that is my approach. You give in a dosage of words. So how I build success speeches are, I write all the traits, and for the traits I try to create the anecdotes from the book. Then comes the person. So if you're able to go through the social media, I read a lot of articles like that. So you take one of the trailblazer, his name, and his name is hidden. You write a story, the most critical thing, like you were asking. You put the name forward, then you add them, then that anecdote comes. Then you give further reading. So that's how this youth read now. See, I watch.
They watch short, instant,
autobiography, but the one which I liked was the Mitsubishi's, the founders thing. Here, it is not a long run paragraph story. He will always have a word, and for the word, he will create the context from his life. Something like that, if Megha is able to do, create a form, like she said, purpose, like what I said, like she said, a word can make or break. So there are a lot of incidences, if you're able to take the anecdote from their trailblazer's life, and then give one reading, then give related reading, children read. But you give one full book read, each one has their own viewpoints. Some children, some youth fully read because they have that hunger. But there are other people, you have to start giving good things in dosages. So start with a small dosage and you'll end up with the bigger dosage. So it's the way I present it. End of the day, we need it to reach. So let's do that. It will shape their life. That's my add-on to it.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
And in fact, that's what I've done, Mr. Vel Murugan. Like, it's a color book. So usually if you see books, they are going to be black and white. This is a color book where all the messages, exactly what you said, I've highlighted them. So that one sentence is what they have to mull over. You know, because not everybody, I want to inculcate the reading bit. Like you said, that not everybody is going to take the whole thing. Can they at least use those highlighted sentences? And in fact, one more addition to what you said, is that, like, I believe in this E square. Okay, so like, it has to be enlightening. It also has to be entertaining. Because for the youth, if you're just going to be preachy and boring, they are going to lose interest within a day.
Exactly.
So like, I myself was such a funny student. Like, I was really naughty. I was one of those ones, Mr. Vel Murugan, that you spoke of, that if they're naughty, enjoy their naughtiness, right? I wish I had you as my teacher, but so half the time I used to be out and so much creativity was there. Now, because I didn't know where to direct it, it used to come out in playing the mischief. So the way we wanted is that any curriculum to be done for youth has to be very fun also. We cannot remove that fun and entertainment value.
Yeah, so, that fun element is so important, especially with the youth, right? Yeah.
So like one correspondent who's making this a part of her curriculum, I spoke to her yesterday. She's like, see, it's like each story, it looks like it's being like a movie. So children love that. They feel more connected to it because they feel, oh, this is a movie. And usually you will read a biography of people who are no longer there. Here it's biographies of people who are living with you. You can Google them. In fact, like the 11 of them are so interested in being a part of the curriculum. They're saying that we will come and talk to children also. That how did we do what we did? So like there's one person called Mr. Arun Kumar Natha, who, like his mother, he grew up in such poverty that his mother asked him that, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be an auto rickshaw driver. And the mother was stumped, she was like, am I educating you? Am I doing everything so that you become, not anything for them, but she had big dreams. And how this little boy climbed every ladder and he became the finance director of Amazon. So one of the 5 finance directors from India for Amazon. So these are the things I want the youngsters to read, because that's going to teach them that, hey, he could do it. And see, they are from streets, we know, like some of the people, trailblazers, are in Chennai. So when you read, oh, he also grew up in Anna Nagar. He also grew up in this place. They're going to feel that greater connect, And that's what I'm very excited about.
So yeah, of course, such interesting insights. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. We can just go on and on. I'm sure from this discussion, the youth will get a lot of insights and tips on, various things, be it financial management, how to handle pressure, or so many other aspects of life. We'll continue with this series. But I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this discussion today. Thank you, Mr. Vel Murugan. Thanks, Chitra. Thank you, Megha.